Anyways, let's look at this. U.S. officials announced election interference. Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe announced Wednesday that Iran and Russia had obtained voter registration information that could be used to disrupt the election, marking the first time top officials have provided concrete evidence of international interference in this election cycle. We have confirmed. Okay, here's just a quote. Maybe we could just listen to it instead of reading it. You guys let me know if you can hear this.
We would like to alert the public that we have identified that two foreign actors, Iran and Russia, have taken specific actions to influence public opinion relating to our elections. First, we have confirmed that some voter registration information has been obtained by Iran and separately by Russia. This data can be used by foreign actors to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters that they hope will cause confusion, sow chaos, and undermine your confidence in American democracy. To that end, we have already seen Iran sending spoofed emails designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest, and damage President Trump. You may have seen some reporting on this in the last 24 hours, or you may have even been one of the recipients of those emails. Additionally, Iran is distributing other content to include a video that implies that individuals could cast fraudulent ballots, even from overseas. This video and any claims about such allegedly fraudulent ballots are not true.
I try to increase the volume. This is the max that you get. Look at this. It's not my fault if the volume is low. But you guys understand overall what he's saying, right?
These actions are desperate attempts by desperate adversaries. Even if the adversaries pursue further attempts to intimidate or attempt to undermine voter confidence, know that our election systems are resilient, and you can be confident your votes are secure. Although we have not seen the same actions from Russia, we are aware that they have obtained some voter information just as they did in 2016. Rest assured that we are prepared for the possibility of actions by those hostile to democracy. The great women and men of the intelligence community caught this activity immediately, and our colleagues at FBI and DHS acted swiftly in response.
Okay, Radcliffe also specifically claimed that Iran was behind a string of spoofed emails, including threatening messages sent to Democratic voters in at least 4 states earlier this week. Those emails, which were sent from a domain associated with the far-right group, the Proud Boys, claimed to have gained access into the entire voting infrastructure. So basically what happens, like, you got an email saying, like, when it says spoofed emails, like, they made it seem like it came from their domain. And it seemed like if you're a Democrat, if you could be a Democrat and you get an email from the Proud Boys, you're saying that that they can see who's voting what. So they have like, you know, pretending to be the Iranians are pretending to be the Proud Boys, threatening the Democrats in these emails, saying that they have gained access into the entire voting infrastructure. And the message is also told recipients if they did not vote for President Donald Trump, the group would come after them. The Proud Boys denied any involvement, and Radcliffe's announcement appears to support that. Notably, both Radcliffe and FBI Director Christopher Wray, who also spoke at the press conference, did not indicate that either foreign country had hacked into the election infrastructure or voter registration systems. They also did not say that any election results or voter registration information had been changed. In fact, intelligence officials who spoke to reporters said that the data they claimed both Iran and Russia this is wrong. Look, Iran and Russia and Iran. Iran and Russia and Iran. Again, I'm just reading off of the screen. This is like, wow, look at this. English is my second language, and I caught an editing mistake here. Iran and Russia and Iran had obtained was largely public. So, yeah, the information that they have, they didn't hack into anything. They're just using available public information to send emails to registered Democratic voters, such as the names, party affiliation, and some basic contact info of registered voters. Yeah, it's really easy to actually get this information. That information, Radcliffe said, was also used by Iran to email a video that implies that individuals could cast fraudulent ballots even from overseas. He added that both emails were designed to intimidate voters, incite social unrest, and damage President Trump. The way this is released, also, I think is meant to help President Trump feel like, to say that he's being targeted. But we'll look into that, if this is actually an anti-Trump move or just anti-democracy move by Iran. Although we have not seen the same actions from Russia, we are aware that they have obtained some voter information just as they did in 2016, he continued. So some people are criticizing Radcliffe now. I think I could see why. I will come back to this if we have time, okay? Because I want to get to the Iran portion of this. Let me see. Are we going to get to Iran? Yeah, okay, let me quickly read the criticism and then go, because the Proud Boys' response to this was very interesting. But let me read the Radcliffe part. Let me see if you guys have anything to say. Terrell saying, sometimes it is easier to catch spelling errors when English is one's second language. Really? I didn't know that. Shortly after Radcliffe's announcement, Google appeared to back up some of his claims about Iran. In a statement, the company confirmed that it had detected around 25,000 emails that targeted users as part of what it described as Iran-linked disinformation campaign. Google added that 10% or 2,500 emails had slipped through their spam filters, but many people still had serious issues with Radcliffe's characterizations of the situation, and the dredged up past criticism of him. Many Democrats and former intelligence officials have accused Radcliffe, who is supposed to be apolitical in his role of DNI, of being a Trump loyalist who has used his position to promote the president's political agenda. Yeah, that statement sounded like it. That statement sounded like, oh, you're coming after my buddy Trump. Or are they? Or are they just going after creating chaos, right? Basically, they seem to be suggesting that Iran has a bias against Trump and they want Biden to win, right? So if you use this whole campaign to show like Iran is like anti-Trump and pro-Biden, that's then you're using your intelligence agencies as a way to promote Trump over Biden, because like you kind of, without saying it, suggesting to the American people, like, who do you want? Do you want the guy that Iran wants, or do you want the guy that Iran is against, right? So, those allegations are specifically concerning when it comes to foreign interference in the election, because Radcliffe has both actively spread information that the intelligence community had deemed to be false regarding Russian interference in 2016 election, and has promoted, what? Look at this. There's a dot here, and then the "and" is like not capitalized. Wow. And has promoted debunked conspiracies about the following investigation. Beyond that, the DNI has also explicitly been accused of selectively declassifying intelligence pertaining to election interference to help the Trump campaign. In fact, earlier this month, many former top officials condemned him for doing just that when he released intelligence about Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign that was not only unverified, but also, according to intelligence experts, may have been Russian disinformation. As a result, many condemned Radcliffe's announcements Wednesday as yet another example of him publicizing information to benefit Trump, specifically pointing on his claims that Iran sent the emails to damage the president. Yes, that's what it. That doesn't sound that doesn't sound apolitical. Like, oh, Iran is trying to damage the president. You know what I mean? Like that seems like as somebody who's supposed to be apolitical, that seems to be very subtly trying to help Trump with this. So, unpacking Radcliffe's claim, it is true that since August, intelligence officials have said that Iran opposes Trump's re-election. Still, Radcliffe provided no evidence for the claim that Iran was trying to aggressively hurt Trump. On the contrary, yeah, actually, it's very interesting because these emails, I mean, how dumb the Iranian officials have to be not to know that people are going to know that this was them. Like, they couldn't be that dumb. Like, come on, they can't be that dumb. And if they know that when they send these emails, it's going to be linked back to them like that, like people are going to figure out this was them and not Proud Boys. What is their true intentions? Was the true intention to damage Trump? I mean, it's easy to think like, yeah, Iranian government. I would argue that the current Iranian government would prefer Biden over Trump. I would argue that's true. But this move, I don't think they assume like, oh yeah, we're gonna get away with this, and people are gonna be like angry with. I think this was more kind of like Russian. You see, the Russians, for example, a lot of people think like, oh, they were promoting Trump over Hillary. But if you actually look what they did, they were promoting both sides. They were like, they just want polarization. That's what they want. They want chaos. And they want to the main thing that Russia or Iran or other countries want when they're taking positions against the elections in the United States is they want to reduce trust in the government. What they want is for people to lose hope over the democratic process in their country. That's what they want, I think. I think that's what, because they know that they're not going to be able to completely. They're not. These things are not so obvious on how to. Oh, let's make the Americans vote this way or that way. It doesn't work like that. It's easier to create chaos. It's easier to create chaos and distrust. It's not easy to move people to vote in a certain direction. I mean, if it was easy for Iran, then the Democrats or Republicans would figure out how to do it themselves, right? That's that's very difficult to do. What is easy to do is to create make Democrats hate Republicans more, make Republicans hate the Democrats more. That is easy to do. Ethan is saying CNN was not happy to say Iran was helping Biden. They appeared to be looking for a way to say it was helping Trump. I don't know. I don't know if you're being unbiased when you're analyzing CNN. Yeah, so somebody's saying, so Iran's infiltration is all over U.S. now? Well, I wouldn't say all over. That seems to be an exaggeration. All right, let's continue. On the contrary, many others have said the current evidence indicates that the country is simply trying to create. Oh, wow! Wow! Look at this! Look at this statement right after. Guys, right after I said this, look at this. On the contrary, many others have said the current evidence indicates that the country is simply trying to create general chaos and distrust. Guys, I promise you, I didn't read that. Guys, it's just right after I said it. Yes, trying to create general chaos and distrust. These are the two words, you know? They say, like in Game of Thrones, Littlefinger saying chaos is a ladder. That's basically what Iran, Russia, or any other enemies of United States is trying to do. Okay, and United States is trying to do that in other countries as well. To be fair, many pointed to the fact that the emails reported. Oh, I'm not saying both sides. I'm not both siding it. Okay, obviously the Iranian government is um, more purely evil actor in this game. Okay, many pointed to the fact that the emails reported Tuesday explicitly threatened Democratic voters, and while some did argue that it was an attempt to make the Proud Boys and Trump look bad, at the end of the day, it was still an attempt to dissuade Democrat voters from either voting blue or going to the polls entirely. I don't buy that. I don't think that they thought that this will. I mean, only 2,500 of the emails went through. Like, really? Do you think that's going to affect this election by even a little bit? No. And I think, do you think like Iran's government would think like, oh yeah, we're going to do this and people are not going to find out? I don't think so. So I don't think that feel like, oh, who's this going to help? Is it going to make the Proud Boys look bad, or is it going to make Trump look bad, or is it going to make people be scared to vote for Democrats? I don't think any of this was part of the calculation. I think it was just this coverage and people talking about it, and people be like, oh, Iran is on the side of Trump, and like be like, no, Iran is on the side of Biden, and people keep pointing fingers at each other. What happened? I like what was happening right now. I think that's exactly what the intention was. So yeah, mission accomplished actually. Bennett Reagan, the campaign manager for a Democratic State House candidate in Florida, who claimed he received both of the threatening emails, told the Washington Post that he believed the message were sent to intimidate Democratic voters in one of the most contested swing states. You see, everybody is just like the Democratic. See, this is so stupid. Like, see how tribal people are. People are like, oh yeah, Iran was attacking the Democrats, and the Trump supporters are saying, oh yeah, Iran was attacking Trump. See how tribal people are? No, objective reality, who cares? Who cares about objective reality, right? Just like, oh yeah, it was our side that was being attacked by Iran. This is how people think. When you have people who have a voter roll and then send off emails, they will make a big splash, he said. They will scare people. That is without a doubt the intent. Without a doubt the intent! That is without a doubt the intent. Well, I'm sorry, mister. I'm going to doubt. I'm going to doubt. I'm going to doubt a tiny bit, okay? Don't mind me if I doubt. Similarly, others also pointed the video that Radcliffe said Iran sent voters with disinformation about voting overseas. According to the Post, which reviewed the video, it consisted of Trump making disparaging comments about mail-in voting, followed by a logo with the name of the Proud Boys, then going on to document what is supposed to appear as a hack of voting data in an effort to produce fraudulent ballots. Regarding the video, critics of Radcliffe argued that it was not intended to make Trump look bad because it was an attempt to spread disinformation about fraud in mail-in balloting by drawing from false statements the president himself made to undermine confidence in voting systems. Oh yeah, so people are saying basically it's not Iran who is undermining confidence in the voting system, it's Trump who's doing that. This general idea about undermining confidence is also another reason used to dispute Radcliffe's claim that this was meant to hurt Trump. The president has spent months trying to undermine the election results. Oh yeah. Critics argued that as a result, these alleged attempts by foreign actors are just them playing off the distrust and discord the president has already created. Oh, so you're saying like the Trump supporters basically are on the side of Iran creating mistrust in the election process because Trump himself thinking that he's going to lose. This is the argument that these people are making. Trump himself thinking that he's going to lose is motivated to increase mistrust in the voting process. So if Iran was to increase mistrust in the voting process, the people who support Trump will actually help use Iran's mistrust campaign to do Iranian government's job for them. That's basically the argument here. Okay. Let me see if you guys tagged me in anything. Nope, nope. So we're good. We're good. That idea was also echoed by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who said that based on classified briefing he received, he had the strong impression it was much rather to undermine the confidence in the elections and not aimed at any particular figure. I'm surprised that DNI Ratcliffe said that at his press conference he added the official Twitter account for the House Homeland Security Committee also hit on a similar point, directly contradicting Ratcliffe and calling his credibility into question. These election interference operations are clearly not meant to harm President Trump, the committee tweeted. Ratcliffe has too often politicized the intelligence community to carry water for the president. You can't emphasize one threat over another to suit the president's ego, it added. Wow, this is the official Twitter account talking like that? Okay. That point may to that point, many other people also accused Ratcliffe of playing down Russia's role in election interference. In his announcement, Ratcliffe mostly focused on Iran and claimed that while Russia had the same information, they were not using it the same way. However, multiple U.S. officials who spoke anonymously to the Post stressed that Russia still remained the major threat to the 2020 election. As for Iran and Russia, both have directly disputed the both Iran and Russia have directly disputed the claims that they are interfering in U.S. elections. Both of them are lying. In a statement, to the media, an Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson said the country strongly rejects American officials' repetitive, baseless, and false claims. You guys are one to speak. A spokesperson for Kremlin also denied Russia's role in influencing the elections in a similar statement. Who's gonna trust you? Who's gonna trust Kremlin? Who's gonna trust Kremlin? Anybody that thinks Kremlin doesn't lie about things is moron. You're a moron if you believe the Kremlin. All right, here's a statement from the Kremlin. Blah 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 blah. Okay, the accusations are poured out every day. They are all absolutely groundless. They are not based on anything. Rather, it is a tribute to the internal political processes associated with the upcoming election, they said. Okay. Nobody should ever take anything coming from the Kremlin or from the Iranian officials seriously. If you do, you're a moron. Okay?